Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Royal Instinct. Today, we are going to be looking into the rat people, China's lost generation, and why it is a warning to the West. We're breaking down two videos that I found, which I thought were rather interesting, about why the Chinese Gen Z are kind of giving up on life. Okay, why they are choosing not to partake in modern life, in working, raising a family, socializing, why they are retreating into their bedrooms, laying down in bed all day and doom scrolling their way to a to escape, I guess, from their pains in their life, from the harsh reality that they face. Okay, many of these people have given up. Many of these people are very isolated, and the reason for that is basically it is just too difficult for them to compete. Okay, Chinese population is over 1 billion people. Okay, so they are competing against the other 1 billion people in China, okay, for jobs, for resources, for women. And especially in China, there is there are less women than men in China due to the fact that China had the one child policy, which I believe now has been lifted. Okay, however, the ramifications from that is that many people had one child per household, and they usually would rather have a boy than a girl. And many girls were unfortunately aborted, let's say. Okay, which is ended a whole, a kind of a lopsidedness within the population demographics, which has now led to the reality that many of these Chinese men are facing very, very difficult times in order to date women, in order to make enough money to afford to partake in the dating market. Okay, and it's not just men who are facing all these hardships. Many women are also checking out, out of society, out of partaking in society, and they're retreating into their bedrooms. Okay, they are allowing themselves to kind of work and you know look after their parents in order for them to justify their existence, in order for them to stay in their house and stay in their bedroom. Let's jump straight into this video.
Beijing, January 2030. The latest graduating class, 15 million students, floods into a job market that collapsed 3 years ago. Youth unemployment has officially hit 35%, though.
This is a futuristic scenario, obviously. Um, However, this is likely going to be reality very, very soon, and not just in China. This is likely going to happen all across Western countries. Okay, due to AI coming in and displacing many people from the labor market. Okay, many jobs will disappear, which in essence will lead to hardships for many people. And this is going to be kind of a new normal. Okay, so don't be shocked when this happens. Okay, like this is going to happen very, very soon, right? Just the next few years you're going to see the ramifications of AI on the global job market.
Independent economists estimate it's closer to 50%. But here's what makes 2030 different from 2025. The youth aren't protesting. They aren't demanding change. They're not even complaining. They're calling themselves rat people.
Yeah, I mean they're basically, they've just given up. Okay, because especially in China, where you cannot, you know, um, protest, where your freedoms are restricted in a way. Um, you can't say anything negative against the Chinese Communist Party. The government in China. You have to hold certain views. Okay, you are ranked on a social credit system. Okay, if you are, saying anything negative against the ruling class in China, people will snitch on you. That is the reality of living in such a society. And that model, the Chinese model, is European leaders and European governments are kind of looking across that and thinking, well, we want to implement something like that. Okay, that sounds fantastic. We get to, you know, control society en masse. Okay, we get to shape the narrative. We get to kind, restrict what is allowed to be said, what isn't allowed to be said, and the ruling party at the top, they will siphon money, they will look after themselves, okay, while they exploit the people at the bottom. That is what they have planned for you.
And celebrating the fact that they've given up entirely. Marriage rates have collapsed to near zero. Birth rates have flatlined. An entire generation lives with their parents, proudly doing nothing and turning unemployment into performance art. What you're about to discover isn't science fiction. It's the inevitable endpoint of trends that started in 2021, accelerated through 2025, and are racing toward this dark reality right now.
Yeah, this is, being speed run by the elites. The elites kind of want this to happen. All you gotta do is, do a little bit of research, look into the World Economic Forum, look into Agenda 2030, and they kind of outline what they hope to have in store for you in the future, right? They want you, in the surveillance state. They want, facial recognition everywhere. They want to limit and they want to control what you spend your money on, right? Are you buying too much meat this week, right? Minus 10 points, right? We'll fine you for that, right? They kind of want to control you, what you consume, where you go, right? Are you are you taking up too much, are you producing too much carbon emissions, right? Are you traveling too much, right? They will watch and monitor what you are doing, and if they think you are living a life of excess, they will fine and dock you for it, okay? This is what they want. They want to control what you eat, where you go, okay? They want you inside a 15-minute city, right? Look at what a 15-minute city is, right? It is, that you kind of don't go out of your 15-minute radius from outside your house, wherever you live. They want to contain you, they want you inside your little bubble, and mainly they kind of want you, to be in your room. They want you to be in your house, logged in, right, interacting with the world via the internet, to live in a virtual world, right? The metaverse is coming, right? They want you there because when you are online, when all your activity and the things that you do are happening online, then it is easier for them to see what you're doing, what you're up to, and to control your behavior, because they want you. Um, they want to manipulate you in a way that they have total power and control over you, so that they can fulfill their secret agenda. Um, and people might say it's a conspiracy, right? Okay, we've only got a couple more years left, right? And then it is time to say goodbye to your freedoms. But before that happens, the choice is yours. Do you want to escape? Do you want to um you know get out of tyranny and live a life of freedom? This is what I'm about. Okay, this is what this channel is about. We are escaping, we are forming new nations, we are building our own kingdoms, we are buying private islands, okay, to escape, so that we can be out of the chaos that is coming. So that we are um protected by ourselves, surrounded by people that we trust, in a world where you will be under 24-hour surveillance.
Over 12 million fresh graduates flooded into a job market gasping for air in 2025, a record unmatched in recent history. Youth joblessness has refused to dip below crisis levels for over a year. The lying flat and let it rot movements have evolved from viral.
Yeah, I mean, lying flat and let it rot. It is just, apathy. You can call it depression. It is just giving up, right? Many people have lost hope. Many people have lost faith in the systems, in a future for themselves. Okay, everything's become more and more expensive, right? The job market, is not producing enough jobs for graduates. It's not so imagine that. Imagine like your whole life you've been told, work hard, study hard, get a degree so that you can get a great job. Once you graduate, and then you work your ass off, right? You get to the finish line, okay, and then there's no job, right? Like, the only jobs that you can get is to compete with other people, you know, driving Uber and doing DoorDash, right? That is the reality that many people in China are facing. But it's not just China; it is all across the world right now. Okay, in pockets, it's happening everywhere. Many people are giving up. I mean, tomorrow, on Thursday, I'm doing a live stream looking at the pretty much the same problem, but in India, right? So this isn't just an isolated thing that is happening in China. It is happening all across the globe, right? You need to be aware of it, and you need to be aware of what you can do to protect yourself from such circumstances. Okay, your job. You might have a job right now, but you have to really look at it. Is it safe? Okay, is it something that AI can easily replace? Right? Is it something that somebody else can come and do, right? You need to be working in something surrounded by your life purpose, something that you are interested in. Okay, you need to carve out a niche for yourself, carve out your own slice within a market so that you become irreplaceable, right? This is why we crown ourselves kings. This is why we are building kingdoms, so that we are creating a whole system for ourselves where we can never be replaced. Okay, that where we are seen as leaders, points of authority, okay, subject matter experts, so that we are seen to be like I said, a point of authority to rule over people. And it's not just going to be you by yourself. I'm creating 100 kings to come together to form 100 kingdoms, to come together and guide the future of humanity to a better place, okay, to offer an alternative to the people, to the masses, okay, because the evil elites, the governments who are running the world right now do not have your best intention. Okay, they want you to rot in your bed, in your bedroom. They want you to become a rat person. Okay, the governments are laughing at these people because this is the fate of humanity.
Catchphrases into generational manifestos. This isn't just economic failure. This is the systematic creation of a lost generation that could bring down the world's second largest economy, and it's happening faster than anyone predicted. The countdown to 2030 has already begun.
Yeah, it's not just happening in China. Okay, this is obviously an isolated report on what is going on in China right now, but this is the future that you're going to see across you know all countries in the world. Okay, this is something that is going to happen everywhere, and it's going to be speed run in places like China, okay, in the West, okay, in the US, right? And the reason why those countries can implement the system quicker is because how look at the infrastructure of your economy. Okay, how reliant is it on um you know your phone, right? I mean, your phone is used for banking now. Okay, your phone is used for identification, right? They want you to kind of come up with a digital ID to track your every movement. They want to link everything into one place, your bank accounts, your identification, your passport, so that they can control you, digitally, right? And especially with central bank digital currencies coming, CBDCs, replacing fiat currency, or not fiat currency. I mean, actual physical cash. Okay, when we become a cashless society, you are totally reliant on, um, you know, governments and the banking system to make sure that everything's in place for you to live and enjoy life. Okay, but if you say something that is against their agenda, they can shut down your banking, they can shut down your your ability to move freely within your country to outside countries. Okay, that is what they want. They want total control of you, so that you are scared, so that you can be easily manipulated.
Let's start with the brutal reality that China's government tried to hide. In August 2023, something unprecedented happened. China simply stopped publishing youth unemployment data. Why? Because the numbers were so catastrophic they became a national security threat. The last official
And this is another thing, that governments, can do, especially in China, where they have much more control over their society. Um, you know, if there's a narrative building within the economy within a country, okay, and the government doesn't like it, they'll stop reporting on it, right? And the news outlets are in bed with the government, okay, to push a certain agenda, to push um a certain narrative. Okay, as you saw during the COVID lockdowns, right? You saw how it happened, how the government wants a certain agenda, and all the news outlets were on the same page to push out the same messaging, right? And that was just a testing ground, if you really want to think about it. Okay, that was just a way for them to test out a doomsday scenario, a global crises, to see how people would react, how they can um really use their power, their might, their resources, to control the masses. Okay, and the media was part of it. Um, you know, I mean, face mask was a way to see who was compliant, who wasn't. Okay, and people were kind of your ability to go outside was limited to 1 hour a day, and if you spent more than 1 hour a day, people knew your neighbors would be kind of snitching on you, okay, telling the authorities about what you're doing. Um and that is just a small event that happened. Okay, they have used that data, they have used the you know the way that they executed it, and they will look at it and extrapolate how they can improve it, and how they can exert more control over you and to push you to your limits.
Figure before the blackout, 21.3% youth unemployment in June 2000.
So yeah, so that means like 1 in 5 uh you know young adults in China were unemployed. Okay, that is huge, right? That is a failure in the economy. Okay, and what do you think will happen once companies can use AI to replace people? Okay, you're going to see mass unemployment, mass a huge chunk of the population having no ability to work, no ability to earn money. Okay, and then what they're going to do when they're starving. Okay, you will see mass riots, mass panic. You're going to see a big cataclysm, a big scary event.
One of the largest protests in the country's history, and they're doing it from their bedrooms. No working, no marriage, no kids. Just doing the bare minimum to survive. It's a massive silent rebellion against a broken system.
Yeah, and it is a silent rebellion. Okay, it doesn't take any effort. In fact, so many people are overworked and overexhausted that that they have no energy to expend on protesting. Okay, and it's not like they're doing this, or like you know I'm going to show them and I'm not going to leave my room. It is just, they're kind of just giving up, right? And whatever your situation is right now, okay, you cannot give up. Okay, you need hope to carry you forward. You need, the belief within yourself that you have the capabilities of producing a good future for yourself. Okay, and the best way to start is by removing any self-doubt that you have, any negative thoughts that you have. Okay, anything that is holding you back, right? The fears, okay, that are stopping you from living you out your life purpose, from being in your lane of genius, in your zone of genius, to find solutions that other people are just not able to see. Right, that is what you need to do. That is what you need to accomplish. Okay, because once you are in your zone of genius, life becomes easy. Right, you will know the thing that you need to concentrate on. Okay, you will know what to work on, you will know what to say at any given moment. Okay, and that is how you build yourself up to be a subject matter expert. And once you are seen as a subject matter expert, okay, and you have authority, and you become a leader, right, you will live like a king. This is what this channel is about. We are living like kings. We are becoming kings. We are building kingdoms and establishing new nations.
And the Chinese government is absolutely terrified. Chinese experts estimate that excluding students, the youth unemployment rate could be as high as 46.5%. That's nearly half of China's youth refusing to or unable to get a job. This is a trend where people are simply choosing.
I mean, think about that. 50%, nearly 50% of the youth, are unemployed. Okay, that is outrageous. That is, you know, what's the government going to do with those people? Okay, and you really have to ask, right? Like, would it be so bad if something bad was to happen to those people? Okay, if there was a war and all of a sudden we send all these unemployed people out to war and then they just disappear like that. Okay, would that to be too bad? Because the elites don't give a fuck, right? They'll protect their own kids, right? But they will get rid of any excess, humans who are just taking up too much space. Okay, who are, ruining it for the elites. That is what they see you. They see you as dispensable, and then they want to get rid of you.
To stay home and live stress-free. So why is China's government deeply terrified by this movement and desperately trying to censor it? Because this movement has a very clear intention to force China's government to finally fix their broken system.
Yeah, I mean, but it's not the system, by just China. Okay, it is a system all across the world. Okay, house prices, right? They're too high, right? People cannot afford to be first-time buyers of a house. Okay, people cannot afford to eat, right? And people can afford to, partake in little life luxuries, right? And especially in a time where we are connected via the internet, where many people can see what is going on online, and you see, celebrities and influencers living, great, exciting lives. Okay, a life of luxury. Many people feel like, okay, well, I can't compete up there, right? And I can't even get the bare minimum going over here, right? It's not okay. I don't have to date a supermodel, but I can't even find like any girl to marry, right? To start a family with, right? And many people see that, and then they're just become disheartened, which turns into depression. Okay, they become disenfranchised and lonely and isolated, and that is a dangerous moment for many people. Okay, because isolation is a great risk to one's health. Okay, this is why you need to be somebody who is able to get yourself out of a position like that. Okay, like and this is why, I'm here kind of to wake people up, to find 100 people who want to go on a journey to become leaders, to become kings, because the world needs better leaders, the world needs more heroes. Okay, and I'm not here to save everybody in the world. Okay, I'm just looking for the people that I want to, that I get on with, the people who share similar sort of beliefs and values as me, and together we can come up with new solutions to help save others, in order for them to bring human into the next phase of evolution, right? Because the elites, they do not have any positive things planned for us. Okay, they have more hardship, and they want to extract you and strip you of your resources.
The movement started in 2021 under the name of Tangping, which means laying flat. The movement started with a man named Luo Huazhong, who made posts documenting his lifestyle. He was unemployed, ate 2 meals a day, and only worked a few days a year when he needed the money. And this post struck a chord with millions, with many others sharing their minimalistic lifestyles online. Tangping was a movement that advocated for having low desire, low ambition, and rejecting consumerist mindsets. It didn't necessarily advocate for being unemployed, but rather a mindset of prioritizing one's own mental health over.
Yeah, I mean, the modern world that we find ourselves in is built to stress you out, to isolate you. Okay, and you have people say that you need to become more resilient, more stoic, but stoicism is great when you have something to live for, right? There aren't these young people, they're giving up because they have nothing to live for. Okay, they are in a crisis where they believe that there is no hope for the future, that all they are here on earth to do is just to exist a bare minimum life, right? And then for them to work their way, um to work for the profit of somebody else, right? They're not profiting anything, they're not gaining anything. Okay, they're not able to start a family, raise kids. There aren't even these bare minimum things which oftentimes give many men hope and a reason to live. Okay, these things are even being taken away from them, right? This is why you will see this movement. It isn't a movement of protest. Okay, it is a cry for help. These people are serious, in serious trouble. Okay, they don't know what to do, they don't know what to say, they don't know who to ask for help. Okay, because if you go if you go to psychiatrists, that they'll be like, oh, get qualified and get a job, this will help you out your rut. Okay, but there aren't any jobs for these people to do. Okay, they need to help in terms of to find meaning in life, right? They need a reason for them to live. Okay, and this is a dangerous moment because this is when charlatans can come along and take advantage of these people, right? This is a time of crisis, and we're going to see many people fall for scams in a future like this.
Their boss or a job or societal expectations. People who follow this ideology refuse to work overtime and will put off work from their bosses or ask to do it later. The Tangping movement started as a rejection of being a corporate slave, but as the movement grew, people started taking this ideology even further by completely refusing to get a job. This led to the rise of the ideology of Bailan, which is a more extreme version of Tangping. The term came from basketball slang, meaning we've already lost, so might as well just stop trying. Bailan's ideology is a rejection of many things. Don't buy a house or apartment, don't get married or have children, don't pursue a career, and spend the bare minimum to survive. Because why put effort into these things if they're impossible or involve trading away your freedom or mental health? An example of this is how 70,000 graduates in China with master degrees have become food delivery drivers. Like DoorDash, but in China. Imagine grinding day and night, going through 18 years of China's brutal school system, just to say this at the last minute because you'd rather deliver pizza on your bike. Many are refusing to get a job and instead becoming full-time children by staying home to cook and clean for their parents, to live with them and earn a salary from them. Many are even being called rat people. People who stay in their bedrooms, waking up late in the day, rotting.
Yeah, and when you have a society where people are staying more and more online and not having real life interactions, not going outside and being part of reality, these algorithms are designed for you to stay on the platform and doom scroll on your phone all day, right? So these things kind of go hand in hand. You have a bunch of people who have no hope, no desires, and then they do still feel boredom, obviously, and then they go to the phone and watch that. They go on TikTok or YouTube or whatever, and they start scrolling through video after video, short after short, in order for them to pass the time, or in order for them to numb themselves of the pain that they are experiencing, of the problems that they have in their life. Okay, and this is a dangerous time because many of these people can turn towards drugs, towards alcoholism, junk food, right? All these things to escape their pain and suffering that they are feeling will lead to further addictions. Okay, and lead them to living a more unhealthy life. Okay, and this is this could be a problem for the healthcare system of each country as well, right? You have to understand that this is something that needs to be fixed. Okay, but it needs to be fixed at the soul level. Okay, we need to create meaning in life. We need to create more connections. We need to have a reason to live. Okay, we need to bring hope back. We are not giving up here on this channel. We are bringing forward the new kings, the new rulers of the world, so that we can be the ones who give people meaning, who give people hope, so that we can save these lost souls.
In their bed, doom scrolling for hours and rarely going outside. Now, bailan doesn't mean quitting working entirely, but rather working only when necessary. This involves low-maintenance jobs like being an online tutor, streamer, content creator, driver, trash collector, etc. And it involves working these jobs for very low hours to make just enough money to survive. Under this lifestyle, some can still afford their basic necessities, but others cannot. Which takes us to the most extreme levels of Tongping, because millions of Chinese people are literally choosing to become homeless, as they see it as a better fate than becoming a corporate slave. This involves sleeping in inner.
Yeah, I mean, desires and the standards, right, to live and to work, is shifting. Okay, before being to work a corporate job was seen as admirable. It was seen as fulfilling one's ambition. Okay, even me myself, I went to university, got a degree in economics. I worked in finance and banking for many years. Okay, and I played that corporate game. Okay, I thought I would like once I graduate, I'm going to get this corporate job, and it's going to be I'm going such a privileged, prestigious situation. Okay, that I'm going to find myself in. But once you get there and you kind of realize that, oh, you are just a cog in the machine, you are just a corporate slave, right? It is a wage slavery, right? There is no reward. Okay, there is, I mean, even though you might get paid better than a manual job, right? For the hours that you work, you actually work, you make less per hour, right? And then you kind of put all these things together. You're not respected for what you do. Your work is not fulfilling. Okay, the companies that you work for, they aren't really helping society. They're kind of preying on exploiting people in society, right? And you see all that, and you are disgusted by it. Okay, which is why many people are leaving. Many people do not want to work a corporate job anymore. They don't want to partake in that world, in that reality. Okay, this is why many people are leaving, and they rather just rot away than take part of a system that has offers them no benefits and no future.
Internet cafes, restaurants, tents, train stations, or even directly on the street. Now, there's a lot more about bailan that needs to be said, but first I'd like to talk about today's sponsor, CyberGhost. You might think you're safe using incognito mode, but people are always watching you. Your internet service provider, your school or work IT department, and even and more than 20 your best deal completely risk-free, with 61% being under 33 years old. If you don't understand just how insane that is, that's equivalent to the entire population of South Korea. And these aren't the addicted, crackhead, homeless people we have in the US. These are
And these issues aren't just in China as well. Like I know in Korea, in South Korea, you have the same problem. Okay, in North Korea has its own problems, obviously, right? Um, in Japan, you have the same issues. Okay, this is all across the world. You're seeing this, right? Many people are suffering like this. Okay, this is why if you are somebody who ever thought that there is something that you are supposed to do in the world, okay, that you were meant for greatness, you're meant to do something and contribute to the world, right? This is your moment, okay, because all these people are giving up, right? None of them have the balls to put themselves forward, to take control of the situation, to be to be a leader, right? This is your moment, okay? If you desire to, if you have the ambition to put yourself out there, to push past all your fears, to even if you held back by self-doubt, to overcome it and be the leader that the world needs, okay, be the leader that you need, and be the leader that the world needs, okay, because if it's not you, then who else will fucking do it, okay? This is why we need good people in
Are
leadership
sane,
positions.
logical people who did the math and realized that being homeless is better than working and paying rent.
虽然不对，但是它舒适啊。那你赚钱不就是为了过得舒适吗？我发现躺着就挺舒适，那我为啥还要再去赚钱呢？
Now, on a surface level, these people might seem lazy or guilty of having a loser's mentality, giving up whenever things get hard. But that couldn't be further from the truth. The people who subscribe to the Tongping ideology are actually very hardworking people, or at least they used to be. These are people who try to make it in
Yeah, this is people who already tried that path of life, okay? They already tried to work very hard. They tried to you know be part of the rat race, so to speak, okay? And they saw it wasn't working. This is not like in the 60s, 70s, or 80s even, right? This is a different time now, okay? The world is oversaturated, okay? Information asymmetry doesn't exist anymore, okay? Everybody has access to the same information, right? We all, there aren't any more pockets across the globe. We live in a globalized world where, the chance of making it, okay, are becoming harder and harder and harder. The barriers to entry are ever greater, which is why many people are now, feeling left out, left behind, okay, that they see no hope and future for
a
themselves.
system, who tried to create a good life for themselves by studying hard and going to college and finding a job. But the more they tried, the more they began to realize working harder does not mean attaining more happiness. Every year, the number of college graduates increases in China, but the quantity of new jobs isn't increasing to match this pace. This creates a job market with fierce competition. And in a job market where millions of qualified applicants are competing for fewer positions, the competitive differential
Yeah, these people who are checking out society, guys, like they are overqualified. They all have, they're highly educated. Okay, they have, real, high level skills in, in mathematics, in sciences, right? In you name it, the subject, right? However, you know, the job market is just oversaturated. It is over competitive. Okay, and once AI comes, the number of jobs available to humans will be squeezed. Okay, which will lead to more and more people checking out society, and the danger is that there could be an uprising. Okay, but more and more likely is that people will just fade away into the background, and further fade away into isolation, and you are going to see many people suffer in terms of depression, anxiety, mental health issues, okay, especially once they are in such a position and drugs are involved, you're going to see a lot of people really hurting.
between applicants isn't about who has more skills or knowledge. It's about who's more willing to work extreme amounts of hours. This has led to a brutal work culture known as 996, rising in prominence in the last decade. Work from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. 6 days a week. Some employees spend so much time at the office that they end up sleeping there.
The thing is, like, even 996, that type of work culture, during the 90s and early 2000s, many people were doing it so that they can get ahead, so that they can, outcompete their competition in order for them to get promotion, an increase in salary. And, back then, the strategy worked, right? But now there are so many people willing to, overwork themselves, okay, and stay longer and work harder than their competition. That is just become the new norm. It isn't now just like, oh, okay, like I'm putting in extra hours so that I can be be rewarded for it. It is just expected that you do it, right? So then, the gap in the market, so to speak, the ability for you to, your advantage to make yourself more competitive is gone out the window, because instead of it being a part of your personality, that okay, that you showing your dedication and your ability to work hard has now been, turned into the bare minimum, right? This is why many people are now suffering on mass
Their
scale.
entire lives revolve around their job. 996 is very common in China, with almost all the top tech and internet companies running by it. Millions of young Chinese individuals enter this workforce with the idea that hard work will bring them wealth and status. But the sad reality is, because so many applicants are willing to work extremely hard work is no longer a praiseworthy quality deserving of a promotion, but rather the norm that's expected out of every single.
Yeah, so instead of it being your kind of superpower that you can work harder than everybody else, right? Now everyone's doing it, right? Everyone's doing it. Whereas to the point of like the employers are benefiting, right? The companies are benefiting from this, because now they have a workforce who are willing to sacrifice their bodies, their lives in essence, in order for them to be more productive. Okay, but you as the person putting in the hours of work, you're not seeing any tangible benefits. Okay, you're not going to get paid extra for those hours. Okay, you're not going to be rewarded, because if you're not willing to do it, right, you might get fired and get replaced by somebody who does it, right? This is the harsh reality of what many people are facing across the globe.
Single employee. This reality has posed an existential question to China's youth. If running faster doesn't get you anywhere, then why run at all? China's youth was supposed to reap the rewards of their hard work. Their hard work was supposed to create a better world for them. But instead, their hard work has only helped the wealthy in China grow even wealthier, while life is only getting worse for the rest of the population. In 1978, the bottom 50% of China's population earned 27% of China's national income. Today, they earn only 15% of China's national income. Why? Because the wealthy elite are taking more of this income for themselves.
So again, this is money being siphoned up. This is money being driven up to the elites, to the people in power. Okay, they are raking in the money, the rewards from everybody else's hard labor, and people at the bottom are suffering. They are not being given any rewards, which is why many people are checking out of society.
Housing prices are sky high, while salaries have remained low. More and more workers are being laid off because they simply aren't needed anymore. Many companies are even decreasing their wages because they have so many workers readily available to them. This is the nation that the youth's hard work has created. So why continue working hard if their hard work will only contribute more to this inequality? Now, if this was any other country, the youth would have done the obvious thing: protest, rebel, speak out against this cruel system. In Western democracies, the youth can vote for the changes they want to see be done. But not in China. There's no voting in China.
Yeah, so obviously in China the system is different. The system is, you can't really speak out against the leaders, the people in charge. Okay, so because the other thing is that the leadership in China is turned around being like, you guys are just lazy. Okay, so not only are you feeling lost and hopeless and depressed in your life, okay, then the people in charge, the people around you are accusing you of just being a lazy, of just being selfish, right? They are you're then made to feel bad for your for your ability to not find a job and take part in society. Okay, you are being made to feel less than, because the people in charge, the people at the top, the older generation do not see and value the problems faced by the youth.
Any attempt of criticizing the system will result in getting censored. Public protests rarely go anywhere because they always get silenced by law enforcement and often end in violence. Because of this, China's youth really only has one option: Tongping, to lie flat and refuse to cooperate with this corrupt system. It's a non-violent, quiet, hidden protest with a message.
The thing is that the Chinese government has the power to come in and to kind of force these people to work, right? Like they could, in essence, imprison them, okay, for being unemployed, for being able to work and being unemployed, okay. So because they're choosing not to get a job, so they could really, in reality, push all these people into a human sweatshop, okay, into a a prison camp, right? A workers' prison camp, in essence, right? And that is a likely scenario that you will see in the future. Okay, China probably not willing to do it yet. Okay, because they don't want to have their human rights track record to made look to be even worse, right, than what it already is. But don't get it wrong. If the world governments, if this was a global crisis and the world governments all decided to, all right, let's put these people in jail so that they can work. Okay, let's put these people in a workers' prison. Okay, so that we can make them productive, so that we can get some fucking utility out of these people. Right, the leaders at the top, they will do it. Okay, they already locked you down once. Okay, they will put you in fucking jail if they have to. Okay, they want total tyranny over you.
That speaks louder than any banner, riot, or march. If you don't fix the system, we're not working. And this movement is only growing larger and larger every year, with more people joining the movement by lying flat, and more influencers and content creators bringing attention to this movement.
I mean, lying flat, just in general, okay. Like, if even if your lifestyle's healthy, okay, but if all you do is all day just lie in bed all day, that is unhealthy, okay, because it's going to weaken your bones, your joints, okay. You are going to you could get bed rash, right? Like, your digestive system doesn't work as well, okay. You're losing, strength, okay. You're getting less cardiovascular exercise, right? So your lungs and your heart, your you know your ability to pump blood around your body, is being affected, right? And if you're not getting enough oxygen and fresh oxygen um to your brain, right, then you're not going to be as sharp, and you're not going to be able to think as clearly.
So how is China's government reacting to this? Well, they're absolutely horrified. The CCP needs a motivated, productive workforce in order to reach their nation's goals, but the Tongping movement is preventing that vision from happening. As a result, China's government is doing whatever they can to stop the movement. The terms Tongping and Bailan, along with many other terms associated with the movement, have been completely erased from social media platforms. Any video that mentions these phrases is made invisible to the public. Many online discussion groups centered around these topics have also been shut down by China's government. But this attempt to hide the movement only made people angrier and didn't really stop anything, as people are still continuing to post about the movement by using euphemisms and alternative words to convey the same message. Many government-run
I mean, that's just that is just a modern world, right? The internet culture, okay. They can't speak about it openly, but they can post memes about it, right? Like a cat laying down, to symbolize, the rat people, laying flat, okay, not doing anything, right? I bet you, like, like Snoopy, 'cause Snoopy used to be the dog, who used to lie on top of the dog house, just staring up at the sky, right? Like, that will be like the symbol for it, for this movement.
news outlets are trying to stop the movement by shaming it. One news reporter said something along the lines of, "We understand that you're frustrated, but we don't care, so stop laying flat."
Yeah, that they don't care about your well-being. They just care about productivity, okay? Because they have their goals to meet. They want to be the number one power in the world, okay? The number one force across the globe. Okay, and it needs a productive labor force to do it, right? And when you're not participating, okay, when you're not productive, okay, their goals aren't being reached, okay, and they will motivate you one way, okay. They will either, beat you with a stick and put you in jail, right, or they will replace you with AI and robots, okay. So either one of them is coming, possibly both, okay. They'll replace you anyway and put you in jail, okay, and then that they'll get their productivity, okay, they'll make their money, okay, they'll keep their elite status at the top while you suffer inside a
吐
prison.
槽归吐槽，苦恼归苦恼，认命可以，躺平却不行。
Articles are being published by the government condemning the movement by calling it shameful and harmful to
Yeah, and they're using words like shameful and harmful, because China is steeped in a culture of saving face, right? Like that you have to uphold a certain level of that you have to bring respect and honor onto your name, onto your family, right? And by not by participating in this movement and not partaking in wider society and being productive, you're bringing shame onto yourself, onto your family. onto onto the Chinese government. Okay, and for that, they'll try to make you feel like you have let people down, when in essence your society has let them down, right? They are not producing the right jobs for them. Okay, they are not producing, and it's not even about the right type of job. Okay, even if you're earning money, okay, everything's so expensive that they can't actually enjoy life, right? They're not thinking about people's well-being, for them to live a life that they actually enjoy, right? They are not allowing for people to express themselves in the correct way, for them to partake in building a family and raising kids, which is leading to all these people just checking out of society.
China. One post by the Communist Youth League wrote, "China's youth has never chosen to lay flat." The government's reaction to this movement is very telling. It means that they know this movement is succeeding, and they're very afraid of what could happen if this continues. Not only is China's government shaming the Tongping movement, but Chinese boomers and Gen X are also speaking out against it, calling it a negative influence on people and society. They call the newer generations weak, lazy, and selfish, talking about how newer generations don't have the same drive, work ethic, and desire for improvement that older generations did. But what these people don't realize is that Gen Z is living in a completely different world than what the older generations experienced. Older generations experienced a world of blooming opportunities, and the
Yeah, I mean, like the previous generations, boomers especially, that they lived in the best of times, right? Because they lived during a booming economy, right, where the world was building, right, infrastructure. Okay, it was building new technologies. Okay, it was building the ability to make new businesses and come up and invent new markets. Okay, and to make money, right, was a real possibility back in the times. Okay, we are now at a late stage, late stage capitalism. Okay, we are coming to the end of a business cycle. Okay, of the economic, cycle of the American West is coming pretty much to the end, right? So once this is happening, it is just a free for all for people to secure their bag, and I'm talking about the people at the top, the elites, right? They are just trying to siphon as much money and power for themselves, okay, for them and their children. For the in group that they are part of, for the elite groups that they are in, for them to isolate themselves. Okay, many of these billionaires are buying underground bunkers, so in case there is a war, right, World War III, that they are isolated, that they are able to stay safe while you are being bombed into oblivion.
chance to succeed. They grew up in a world where hard work actually meant something. Their hard work allowed them to find a good job, climb the corporate ladder, gain promotions, and earn good wages. Marriage and buying a house and raising children was actually an option for them. Sadly, that is not the same.
They also lived in a time where they were part of a society. Okay, they were part of communities. People were on the same page in what they wanted. Okay, people spoke to the neighbors back in them days. Okay, now many people are isolated. Okay, many people do not care about one another. It is all about money in order to survive. It is not about progress. It is not about building communities. It is not about friendships. Okay, this is what many people are experiencing. This is why we are living in a more isolated and lonely time than ever before, even though we are connected via the internet.
World as today. The older generations and government can keep telling the youth to stop laying flats, but these are just empty phrases that don't mean anything. Telling China's youth to stop laying flat is like telling a homeless man to just go buy a house. Despite all their efforts, China's
Yeah, oh, you really shouldn't just live on the street. Okay, you should just buy a house and then you'll be happy. Well, how the fuck does he get the house? Okay, how does he integrate himself into society? Okay, how does he get the right type of job so that he can earn enough money to buy a house? Right, this is the problems that many people are facing. Okay, society is so interwoven, interconnected. Okay, that it's got to the point that only the elites, only the rich people at the top will win. Okay, this is why you have to establish a kingdom. This is why you have to be different from everybody else. Don't play their game, invent your own game. Okay, we are coming up with new creative solutions to help the people of the world. We will guide them into a better future so that these people can have hope and live a prosperous life.
Government will not be able to stop the Tongping movement. The only way to solve this problem is for them to fix their broken system. China's government is going to have to abolish 996 culture, not just pass laws against it, but to hold companies accountable for any form of unpaid overtime. They need.
The thing is, if you abolish 996 culture, then these big companies, these multinational conglomerates will just replace you with AI, because AI doesn't sleep, AI doesn't complain. Okay, AI works 24 hours, right? And it is cheaper in the long run, because the upfront cost of it running such a program might be high. Okay, but in the long run, especially as it becomes more and more productive, right, it will be more profitable for these companies to hire to replace you with AI to do your job, right? AI robots will come in, right? They will do the manual labor done by humans, right? So then what will happen to all these humans, right? They will die, they will suffer, they will be just a nuisance for these governments. Okay, so it wouldn't be surprised if they decide to get rid of all of them.
To make life easier for the youth, like lowering apartment prices and increasing wages, so people actually have something to work towards instead of working their lives away without any purpose. This isn't some sort of outrageous goal, as there are hundreds of millions of apartments empty in China waiting to be filled, and China's growing economy should allow higher wages. Until then, more and more people are going to lay flat. If you like this video, I made a similar video about
Yeah, I mean, it is a sad state of affairs. Okay, that many people are suffering like this. Many people have no hope. Even though, especially, yeah, like in China, there are so many buildings that went up. Okay, during the construction boom, and now living, they're left empty. Right? They should be made available for these people to move into. Okay, for these people to, to kind of start their life. Okay, for them to build and have some self-esteem, in order for them to build connections, be part of a community, so that they can live a happy and prosperous life. Let's jump back into the first video.
That's 1 in 5 young people with college degrees who couldn't find work. But here's where it gets truly shocking. When China resumed reporting in December 2023, they used a completely new methodology that magically made the crisis look smaller. They excluded students from the count entirely. Convenient, right? Despite Beijing's statistical manipulation,
Again, this is China's just trying to hide this, problem under the carpet. Okay, they're pretending it doesn't exist. Okay, so because they don't want to worry investors, they don't want to create mass panic. They're trying to find a solution before people really find out about what's going on. And in China, the media narrative is very, very easily controlled, because they're all the media outlets are state owned, right? And if they say anything against the narrative pushed by the CCP, right, the people will be in trouble. Okay, heads will roll. Okay, this is why they have ultimate power with their ability to create an atmosphere where they are in charge. Okay, pushing their agenda, right? But this is why also these people are just lying flat. They're not trying to hurt anyone, they're not trying to rile anyone up, or piss anyone off, right? They are just checking out of society by laying down, by not getting out of bed.
unemployment among young Chinese has consistently hovered between 17% and 20% throughout 2024. And that's just what they're willing to acknowledge publicly. Independent analysts estimate the real number reaches 25 to 30% when you include underemployment and graduates working jobs that require no degree at all. Here's what should keep Beijing's leadership awake at night: 430,000 more desperate degree holders than 2024's already overwhelming flood, all competing for positions that exist only on paper. Think about that scale for a moment. That's more new graduates than the entire population of Belgium, all competing for jobs that simply don't exist. But the unemployment crisis is just the beginning of China's youth nightmare. Something extraordinary happened in 2021 that changed Chinese society forever. A young man named Luo Hongzhang posted a simple message on Baidu Tieba, one of China's largest online forums. His post was titled "Lying Flat is Justice." In it, he described his decision to reject China's brutal hustle culture and live a minimalist life.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, but basically, this guy, his soul was destroyed, right? He was burnt out. He was struggling and trying hard to make a success of himself, right? He was trying to take part of society. Okay, he was doing and following society's script. Okay, in order for him to make something of himself, to create a happy life for himself, right? And then when the harder he worked, the less he was actually getting away from it. Okay, he was probably suffering mentally, from stress, overwork, exhaustion. right? And then he just got to the point where he just said, "Fuck it." He just said, "Fuck it, I'm not taking part in this." Okay, and I understand what he's going through. Okay, because I felt the same. Okay, I worked in corporate jobs, and I got to the end of it, and I was like, "Fuck this." Okay, there's no point trying when you are where there's a barrier to how much success you can get. Okay, which is why I'm so ambitious. I'm going straight to the top. Okay, I am going to become the ruler of the world. Okay, me alongside the 100 kings that we are building here at Royal Kingdom. Okay, the nations and kingdoms that we are discovering and building together, side by side. Okay, the only way to do it is to get outside the system and build something of your own. Okay, and once you build it, the people will come. Right, the people will come. They are looking for somebody to be a leader for them. Okay, they're looking for somebody to take that risk. Okay, and I'm willing to do it, and I'm looking for other like-minded people who are have the same sort of ambition as me to come and take that step. Okay, to express themselves in their way, in their unique way, to overcome any fears that they have, in order for them to fully blast their personality onto the world, in order for them to show their interest and their special expertise onto the world, to be points of authority for us to become rulers and the rightful leaders of the world.
Doing only the bare minimum to survive. I can just sleep in my barrel enjoying a sunbath like Diogenes, he wrote, or live in a cave like Heraclitus and think about Logos. His post went viral instantly. Tang Ping, lying flat, became the rallying cry for millions of burned out Chinese youth. But the government panicked. State media denounced lying flat.
Yeah, and like how many people do you know who feel like this, right? So this message is only going to be spreading further and further. Many more people are going to check out a society. They're going to retreat into their bedrooms, not take part in society. But this isn't going to be like some sort of fucking movement, right? It's just going to lead to a massive mental health crisis, a massive isolation crisis. Okay, people's social skills are already out the fucking window. Okay, people don't know how to talk to each other anymore, right? People are meeting. I mean, if you can get a date, okay, it's usually done via online messaging where you're hiding behind the screen. People aren't interacting in real society, in real life, in reality anymore. Okay, everything's moving more digitally, which is why you need to become a subject matter expert. Okay, express yourself online. Okay, build communities so that you can be seen as a king.
As shameful and poisonous chicken soup. They deleted Lua's original post. They censored discussion groups. They even banned the sale of lying flat merchandise online. The crackdown only made the movement stronger. By 2022, a new, even more nihilistic phrase emerged: by Lan, let it rot.
I mean, when you have that mentality to just let it rot, okay, not just yourself but society, right? Like, there is no hope for the future. Okay, we are moving towards dark times. We're moving towards a society that is on the brink of collapse. Okay, this is why if you ever thought that you were supposed to do something with your life, if you're supposed to do something great, this is your moment. Okay, this is your moment where you step forward, okay, and become the hero that you need, the hero that you always thought that you could be. Okay, the hero that the world needs. Okay, I'm here to assemble the Avengers. Okay, this is a bat signal I'm sending out. Okay, let me know where you're at. Let me know what you are about. Okay, if you want to become a hero, if you want to go on the hero's journey, let me know. Or you can just fade away to the background. Okay, you can just go lie down. Okay, you can be a rap person. Okay, you can let it rot, let yourself rot, let your hopes and dreams rot, your future. Okay, let society rot. Okay, because the elites won't care. The elites are siphoning money. They will escape. Okay, I mean, Elon Musk wants to escape to fucking Mars. Okay, do you think he's going to take you? Do you think you're going to be part of that fucking future? I don't think so. Okay, he's going to take him and probably 100 of his wives, because he's just cream pieing everybody, right? Him and his children that he names XXZZZZZ, right? He's just going to take all of them, right, and fuck off to Mars. Okay, and then once Earth, everybody else just kills each other on Earth. Okay, once we all destroy each other, he'll come back and recolonize. Him and his rich billionaire tech friends. Okay, him and his elites circles that he's in. Okay, that is what they have planned. That is what they are all about. That is what they want to do.
Lying flat meant doing the minimum. Letting it rot meant actively embracing decline. Young people started posting things like, properties in Shanghai too expensive? Fine, I'll just rent all my life. Or, hard to find a job after graduation this year? Fine, I'll just buy lawn, stay home and watch TV all day.
I mean, you can see by these phrases that just ambition and motivation have just died in China, right? There are no more ambitious people. There are no more motivated people. Okay, they are ready to embrace the basic minimum, right? And they're not doing it out of a place of happiness. They're doing it out of place of desperation. Okay, they are in a very dangerous mindset, because also once you stop caring about those sort of things, you stop caring about your health. Do you get what I mean? Like, it's not like they're maximizing their mental health at this point. They're letting go of their mental health. They do not care about themselves anymore. They are ready to just throw their lives away, right? And if they get to a point where they cannot even afford to live, as a rat person, to just lay flat all day, once they become homeless, okay. I mean, what do these people have to live for, right? You're going to see mass, suicides. Okay, you're going to see all these people checking out of life, right? And my heart goes out to these people, okay, but they need to have hope. They need to have belief, okay, and because they're not going to do it by themselves. It's going to be us. It's going to have to be the the royal alliance. Of kings that I'm forming. We have to come forward. We have to create new belief systems for these people, come up with new creative solutions so that these people can prosper in life. Okay, it is up to us, because we are the ones, taking on all the risk, because we are the ones coming up with these solutions. It is first move advantage. We at the top, us 100 kings, will live a life of luxury. We will be living at the top. We will have the best life. Okay, and that is what we're all about. We will be in our life purpose and enjoying ourselves. But that is it for today. Thank you very much, and I will see you tomorrow.